This chapter was nuts. I mean, niggas was showing up left and right. BOA, Kobe, Blackbeard, Vasco Shot, Katarina Devon, Marco, Red Hair Pirates. They were all in this chapter. This chapter was insanely hype and insanely good. I even saw some people calling it like a top 5, top 10 chapter in the series. Not in my opinion, but it's a good chapter. I gave it a solid 9 out of 10. One very slight gripe I did have with the chapter was that it was kinda all over the place, and that was mostly during the ending, middle parts of this chapter where it was going from Blackbeard to the Seraphim to BOA to Kobe, like from panel to panel. So it was just a little bit hard to follow what was actually going on initial read, so I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people missed stuff on initial read like me or just kind of glossed over it. But on my second, third, fourth read, you just find things that you did not find before, little gems that Oda left in there. And I do want to point out it's not like a detriment to this chapter, but it's definitely something I noticed on my initial read. This chapter is hyped for a lot of reasons, but definitely because we get to see a lot of things we've kind of been waiting on and that Oda's been building. The BOA will, Vivi will, Sabo will. It seems like Oda's kind of just checking off all of those boxes before we eventually get started into the final saga with our main crew. So we definitely got to see a lot of things we've been wondering about for a while, but in typical Oda fashion, he kind of just leaves us with more questions than what we initially came in with. And that's hilarious because even though with the story ending soon and him trying to wrap it up, he still can't help himself. This chapter's so hype, it made me forget the intro. What up peeps, it's your boy Sherlok and we're back again today for another video. We're going to be discussing the latest chapter of One Piece, chapter 1059, titled Kobe, what was it? The Captain Kobe Incident. There we go. Sorry, hypeness just causing brain fart. Please smash that like button if you enjoy videos like this and you want to see more. Hit that sub button to support the channel and hit that bell for notifications if you really like me and want to be notified when I post content and when I go live for live streams. But with that being said, let's get into the chapter. Let's start off with the cover page because I seem to always kind of skip over that or forget to talk about it in my reviews. So we start off with Katakuri and Oven. They're punching each other and apparently it's due to Caesar's hallucination gas. So that makes a lot of sense. Caesar in the last chapter came up to the German. He's like, if y'all help me get out, I'll help y'all escape too. So apparently they're helping each other now and we're gonna go from there. Like I said before, I think this is gonna link us to Judge with Caesar and eventually to Vegapunk. But I won't spend too much time on that and we'll actually get into the meat, eggs, and potato of the chapter. So we'll start off with the eggs of the chapter, the beginning part, with Marco and somebody I did not think was gonna be in the story for a little bit after he got his Film Red promotion done. But we get the Red Hair Pirates and Marco's catching a ride with them to Sphinx Island, you know, Whitebeard's island, his home island where Marco was back taking care of all of the people that were there. I'm glad Oda didn't actually forget about Marco, and Shanks makes perfect sense to be the one to take him to wherever he needs to go from there because they have history, they've known each other forever with Whitebeard and Gold Roger. It just makes perfect sense. I mean, Marco is an elite person in the One Piece world, so of course he felt Shanks' hockey and knew it was Shanks and was like, okay, I know that guy, I'm gonna go catch a ride with him, catch up with him and say what's up. It's funny though, because Shanks wants Marco to join his crew, which would have been really cool, but I guess his place is on Sphinx Island caring for the place that Whitebeard loved and put all his money and effort into. It's funny though, because you see Marco talk like an old man. He's only 45 years old though, and like maybe like 5 or 6 years older than Shanks, but he's talking about I need to pass it on to the new generation of pirates like you, Luffy, everybody else, and there's no place for a guy like me. I don't have that kind of drive and ambition anymore, which is crazy. Did Blackbeard slap that dude around like that to have him like not really want to be a pirate anymore? So that was just a pretty funny moment. I like the interaction with Shanks and Ben Beckman. That was pretty funny. We kind of get a glimpse into what Shanks is like as a person and as a captain. I feel like he's closer to what Luffy and Gold Roger is than what we actually kind of think. Seems like he's a guy that just likes fun and is a handful, just like Gold Roger was and just like Luffy is. Makes sense. That makes me wonder, does the Straw Hat actually choose its owner? Because they seem to have like the same character character archetypes. Or maybe that's just a coincidence. We then get a slight flashback to Marco saying goodbye to the Straw Hats. And we have Yamato there, and I'm so glad Oda actually gives us her reasoning for staying in Wano, instead of just glossing over it and off-screening it. Myself and a lot of people were saying that she probably did stay in Wano to help protect the country and Momonosuke. So that does make sense. And then we see later in the chapter with Amazon Lily the consequences of possibly leaving the island unprotected and open to marine and pirate influences. So I really like the way Oda did that and kind of set that up with showing that, okay, they're worried about Wano in the future and its protection, and then later showing us the consequences of actually being tied down to an island and a people and not being able to run away, and how that can affect everything. I do hope one day she's able to join though. And before we move on to the meat of the chapter, I just wanted to bring up one small thing I noticed with Marco. He has a little ... as he's approaching Sphinx Island. I don't know if he's just in thought, or maybe he's noticed someone on the island. Maybe Weevil or somebody else is on the island, and that's gonna bring Weevil back into the story and kind of bring maybe some resolution to Marco and give him another purpose other than just staying on Sphinx and kind of helping the people. So just something to think about. But let's get into the meat of this chapter, the attack on Amazon Lily. This is really what I meant when I said niggas was just showing up, bro, one after another. So the scene transitions to Amazon Lily, where we see BOA, and she's bandaged up, look like she's been in a battle, and they're talking about where she can go and kind of hide because the Marines have been encamped on her island and still attacking day after day. So hopefully this is a way to link her in the story with Luffy, because I know those interactions with Luffy and the crew and BOA would be hilarious. So we can only hope. But luckily Oda immediately gives us this flashback, and it was a few weeks ago. The Marines were attacking Amazon Lily. So on the Marine side, we have Yamakaji, we have Kobe, and we get introduced into new weapons, apparently new forms of the pacifista called Seraphim. I think this is the SSG, or the beginning stages of the SSG. A lot of people think SSG stands for like Special Science Group or some kind of acronym that is similar to that. So maybe the Seraphim themselves aren't the SSG, but they were created by the SSG, and they're just kind of a prelude to what we can expect going forward. But of course there's a catch with these Seraphim. Apparently they're pacifistas that were combined with Lunarian DNA and also DNA from warlords, from what we can see. There's two Seraphim on the island. One looks exactly like a kid BOA, and then one looks like a kid Mihawk, which the community has adorably dubbed him Kid Hawk. When they first appeared in the manga, I didn't even notice they were the Lunarians. The first thing I noticed was just the wings, and it was a little girl, so the first thing I thought of was the girl from Skypiea, the Shandian girl who had the amazing observation haki. I think her name was Isa. And then when Blackbeard started mentioning the traits of the Lunarian, I was like, bro, how could I not think of that? So that's really crazy. They have the indestructible craziness of the Lunarians, but they also have the skills of the warlords. And then you combine that with the lasers and stuff from the pacifista, they are crazy. And Kid Hawk puts this on display right away. He goes straight at Blackbeard and he puts him on the defense. He has the fear of God in Blackbeard. He makes Blackbeard use armament haki. And I mean, Blackbeard's been scared of a lot of people and a lot of things throughout the series, so that's not like a big deal, but that's still crazy. I mean, he sliced through the Amazon Lily Mountain with one slice, and that might not even be with like a special sword or anything. And from my knowledge, this might be the first time we've actually seen Blackbeard use armament haki in the series. So, huge deal. So, Blackbeard pulls up with his crew, and mainly Katarina Devon and Vasco Shot. And by the way, Vasco Shot needs to go back to Impel Down and rot there forever, because if he ever touches BOA like that, he gonna have some problems from not only me, probably the rest of the fan base. Oh, and just wait, the craziness doesn't stop. We get BOA and Blackbeard's bounties. BOA's revealed to have a huge 1.6 berry bounty, which I guess we shouldn't really be surprised about when Mihawk has a 3.5 and Crocodile has a 1.9 billion berry bounty. But it's still surprising. I mean, she does have all three types of haki, and more specifically Conqueror's haki. She commands an island of strong warriors, and her devil fruit is pretty much OP. Kobe's the only Marine I think I've seen stand up to it yet. And then somehow Blackbeard gets a bounty increase after not really doing anything that we know. I mean, just a few weeks ago when we were getting the bounty reveals from the Ultimate chapter, it's revealed that his bounty is 2.2 billion berries, and he shoots up by 1.7 billion berries to 3.9 now. By the way, stronger than Mihawk, but less than Shanks. He thereby cemented as the Yonko with the second highest bounty, just a little bit under Shanks. But I do wonder what he could have done between those few weeks ago and now to get a bounty increase like that. It looked like he left immediately from the Pirate Island to go after BOA. So I really don't know what he did to get that new bounty. If you have any ideas, leave it in the comment section below. Then we get the most egregious part of the chapter. Our number one pirate empress got blacked. He had her there by the throat, unable to use her devil fruit powers, threatening to kill her. From that moment, we learned two very important things. Kobe somehow helped him with capturing the Pirate Island beehive and ousting the former leader, Achoku. And for some reason, he's been interested in BOA's powers for a while, which I don't completely get, because how can he use them when he looks like how he looks and how the rest of his crew look like how they look? Is really only effective for BOA, which she reiterated in this chapter. And that's because she does have the beauty to be able to utilize it to its fullest. But Blackbeard has always known a little bit more, or a lot of bit more, than what we actually know, or seems like what the world actually knows. So I'm very interested to see if there's an additional power or something to that. And when all hope seems lost for both Kobe and BOA, we have our guy Silver's Rayleigh show up, which makes a hell of a lot of sense because he has been there before. He swam there. He knows where the island is without a Vibra card or without having a log post, which I should have found very mysterious before. But being the absolute legend that Rayleigh is, he's able to bluff his way into getting Blackbeard and the Marines to leave the island. During this moment in my live reaction, I did not think Rayleigh could actually take Blackbeard, and he reiterates that after saying that he probably would have lost, and he's glad that they actually bought his bluff. Old age does crazy things to people. From there, we flash back to the present where we see Granny Neon, Shocky, Rayleigh, and BOA there sitting and kind of discussing where to go from there. And we get a reveal that a lot of us have been waiting on for a long time. We get the reveal that Shocky was actually the Empress of Amazon Lily 2 generations ago, and she was the former captain of the Kuja Pirates. Her real name being Shakuyaku, which is a Chinese flower, which perfectly goes with the theme of Amazon Lily and the Kuja Pirates being named after flowers. I glossed over this in my live reaction because I really thought they were talking about Granny Neon when they did the Pirate Empress from 2 generations ago, which confused me a little bit because I thought Granny Neon was older than Shocky. I looked it up and Shocky is 64 years old currently, but Granny Neon looks older than that. So I don't know if it was a thing with Shocky just kind of left and Granny Neon had to take over her role because she was gonna die from the love sickness disease, or what. And lastly, we get to my personal favorite part of the chapter. It's where we find out that Kobe has actually been captured by the Blackbeard pirates and he's missing. This is such a twist to me because the whole chapter I was just worried about BOA. I thought for sure they were gonna get BOA and I was just very stressed about that. And Oda hits the oop-de-doo on me and we come back and it's actually Kobe who's captured. But I love this. I mean, I'm sad for Kobe and all, but it shows that Oda truly has great plans for him in the future of this story. And we could possibly get something like a Luffy-Kobe team up similar to the parallel with Garp and Roger on God Valley. And I'm so looking forward to that. But I do think he chose to leave on his own for whatever reason that was. And we all knew Blackbeard wasn't gonna come all the way that way and leave empty-handed. So I'm very interested to see where Oda goes with this. I'm also very interested to see where Oda puts BOA in the story, seeing as all of the warlords are becoming relevant again and they're getting a very big part of the story. So I just want to see where he goes with that. The most likely option is, of course, Luffy and his crew. But how she gets there and how that works out, we'll just have to wait and see. But with that being said, I'm gonna wrap things up, guys. As always, I hope y'all are having a beautiful day or night wherever y'all are in the world. I'll catch y'all on the flip. Peace.